Hello YouTube, I am back and my Xcode download has finished. You can see I've got 4.14 gigabytes. It appears to have completed. So I'm going to go look for it, and it's probably going to be in my home downloads directory. Yep, here it is. So what I'm going to do right now is run through the install of the development tools for the iPhone application development. This is part 2. If you are just starting with this video and you have not downloaded the toolkit yet, you want to go follow video number 1, part 1, which goes through the Apple website and shows you the Xcode and what to download. So assuming that you have an image, a DMG file in your downloads directory, double click on it and it should open up like it did right here. And we're going to click on the one that says Xcode and iOS SDK. The other one's it's a PDF file, you can read all about it, but let's just double click on the install. So the package will run a program to determine if the software can be installed. Hit continue. Sure, why not? Apparently it looks like it has been. I have not installed Xcode before on this computer, so I'm hoping I have the prerequisites and everything needed. I'm sure there's really nothing needed. I just clicked on continue from the first page. Looks like I'm presented with a license agreement. Nothing to select OK, so I'm going to go continue again. And now here's the obligatory to continue with the install. You must agree to the terms of the software license agreement. So I'm going to click on agree, and presented with another SDK agreement. I'm going to go OK. I guess you could go through and read the agreement, several pages long. Or you can do what I'm doing and just click on agree, assuming that you agree to the license agreement without reading it. So this looks like the install is going to take 10.92 gigabytes of space. This is why in the first video I said you're probably going to want like an 80 gig drive or something. I've got a 250 gigabyte drive on my computer. If you've got a kind of a small drive, if you've got a 60 gigabyte drive, you might not actually have 10 gigabytes of space left. Especially if you have music or anything on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and it's going to install on my Mac here where I've got enough space. Where I'm going to install the software. And installing software requires 2.0. I don't know, it said 10 before. Anyway, I'm going to click the only disk available and say OK. You can actually install this on an external drive if you wanted to. You don't have to put it on the main hard drive. So now it appears to be looking at installation here. What do I want? Here we have the system tools that are installed. The Unix development looks like it's going to upgrade for me. Documentation install. Mac OS X 10.4 SDK. I don't really necessarily need that. I'm going to leave it unchecked because I don't really need them. I don't really want the Mac. I want the iPhone development stuff. I'm not going to write any Mac applications. If I did click on it, looks like, oops, if I click, there we go, looks 0, oops, click too many times. Let's just leave it alone. There we go. I appear to have confused it by clicking too many times. The install seems a bit, now we go back to 10.92 on here. It seems a bit sensitive. There we go. 0 kilobits. Well, I'm going to unselect it though. I don't really want support for Apple development, so it'll conserve some space. Anyway, I'm just going to click continue, and then I'm going to click install down here. So I did not select that last option. I just kind of played with it for a few minutes and then just left it alone. You're going to have to put your password in and press OK. So now we're going to install, simply installing the Xcode and the iOS SDK. So if you want the development tools to write applications for the Mac OS X, go ahead and select that option that I did not select. I'm not going to use it really for Apple development. I'm just going to use it for iPhone, so that's why I didn't select it. But this is going to put on the iOS SDK, which is going to include all of the emulators and all of the SDKs needed for iPad and iPhone development. So Seems to be running a bit slow. It looks like it is running. It's writing files. Gonna let this go. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll pause the video and then I'll resume once once this bar has gotten to the end. Otherwise, it's gonna be quite boring to watch. So go ahead and let yours run until all the files are written out, and then resume the video. And I'm gonna pause my video right now to save you some time. As you can see, the install is still running. I thought I would resume the video momentarily to show you that it's now changed to running package scripts. And it says I have 17 minutes remaining, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again and then come back after 17 minutes. Hopefully yours is installing in the same type of way, and I'll see you back in 17 minutes. Okay, it looks like my, it's still going, but it looks like my install process is winding down. I got about a minute left on the bottom, according to what it says. It's registering updated components. It's going to run through. Hopefully it'll run through successfully. It's quite a boring install, nothing too exciting. Yours should look something like this. When it's all done, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find it, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to run it correctly. Well, we'll see. And then the next video after this will be sort of the hello world. Let's start a iPhone project. So this is the boring part, getting the software installed, running package scripts. Keep saying about a minute on the bottom. So once we get everything installed, we only have to do this once, fortunately. And it is kind of nice that they're still supporting the snow leopard and leopard. Well, I didn't actually see leopard on there, but I heard that leopard was still being supported, which would be nice because it's really not that old, and snow leopard really isn't that old either. So I'm kind of hesitant over upgrading my system to lion, but because I've heard it runs a little bit slower than snow leopard, but then I have yet to see it, so I can't really comment on that. But I guess my next MacBook will be of a more current operating system. It still appears to be running. That's a long minute. I keep saying about a minute down here. So perhaps I resumed too early. We'll give, here it goes. Give some time here. Running package receipts. Now you don't actually have to pay anything to do iPhone development. So here we go. We're done. You can work with the emulator and never put anything on an iPhone, just the same way you do with the Android. So don't worry about having to sign up for an iPhone membership. The installation has completed successfully, so I'm going to close, and looks like I can close this window, and I can probably get rid of the DMG image, but I'm going to take this here and eject it, put it back. I'm going to keep it actually just to make sure my download worked correctly. So I didn't add anything to my dock, as I see, so I've got to go find it. And so I'm going to search in my home directory first, and I'm probably not going to see it. Well, I don't see it, which is no surprise actually. So instead I'm going to go into Applications, and in Applications I'm going to look for it. I don't really see it in here either. It could be in Utilities. No. What do we got here? X11. Oh, interesting. No, don't have it there either. So I'm going to click on Macintosh hard drive, and now I see developer. It's definitely going to be in developer, I believe. What do I see in here? About Xcode. How about applications in here? And lo and behold, here it is, Xcode. So I found a kind of trial and error by hitting on my device for my hard drive. It's not in my directory path for the users. In fact, it's going to be available to all users on this computer. So I clicked on the hard drive, I clicked on developer, I clicked on applications. I'm kind of curious what's in the documentation. Not too much. I may have Python Perl. not bad. I may have installed some examples. I did. That's good. iPhone example. Nothing really much in there. Text edit. Alright. So it looks like some examples were installed. Not very much. I'm going to have some better examples for you. Some SDKs. What's in here? Some Mac OS X stuff. Alright, so I'm going to double click on applications. I'm going to take the Xcode and actually kind of put it in my dock. Actually, I'll put it right next to the terminal window, so I don't have to go looking for it next time. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click on Xcode. I'm going to make sure it runs, actually. On my other computer, it doesn't run that quickly. So when I click on it, it doesn't feel like anything's happening, actually. But it seems to work. Okay. This is interesting. Hello Simulator. I wonder if this project was left over from the last time I did development on this computer. But I was greeted, I should say, with a welcome to Xcode. You may not end up with either one of these two options in your recent projects. I had an old version of Xcode installed on this computer, and I currently I uninstalled it before running this video, but apparently it found some old files that I had. You can unclick this if you don't want to see this window again, but it's not a bad idea to kind of keep it going. You might want to experiment creating a new Xcode project, getting started with Xcode. Looks like there's some new tutorial options and things that have been added. It does run a bit on the slow side, so when you do click on something, in this particular case, one of the tutorials is supposed to be loading. Here it is, actually. In fact, it went out to the website, it looks like, a developer website. I clicked on getting started with Xcode, so following tutorials to learn how to use Xcode. So this is pretty much the end of this video, which was the install of the package. We have installed what we needed, and so in the next video, I'm going to run through Hello World, and it's going to be a Hello World for iPhone. I don't know if I'll run one for Mac, but for iPad, but it should be very similar. But I'm definitely going to do one for the iPhone. So I encourage you to go through some of the finding, viewing documentation, going through some of the stuff that's here, figuring out, getting familiar with Xcode if you've never used it before. That way you can figure out where the menu options are and stuff like that. So you can sort of be able to navigate it. So I'll leave you with that, and this is interesting. iOS. Interesting. Okay, so I'll leave you with that, and the next video will be a Hello World for the iPhone. So if you don't get Xcode coming up like this, if it doesn't look like this, if you get an error message, try to go through and install one more time, or call Apple, or go to the Apple website. You'll probably find an answer to your problems. But I'll see you next time for Hello World on the iPhone. Thanks for